Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 20 of season 2 of the F124 My Team career mode. Yes, we're finally back. I apologise, it's been a couple of weeks since the last race in this series. I've just been very busy with other videos, but yeah, hopefully this week we're going to be back with plenty of content here on the channel. Obviously, if you missed out on the last video from this series that went live from Kota a couple of weeks ago, go back, check it out. I'll be honest, I need a bit of a refresh as to what is going on inside this series as well. We've got rule changes confirmed for next season, so we are steadily working behind the scenes to try and get all of the upgrades done on the car to make sure that we are as competitive as possible heading into the new campaign. But admittedly, there are a lot that need to be done still between now and the end of the year. Durability, admittedly, I won't worry about as much inside this game. But in terms of the championship, then, of course, including this race, we have got just 4 or 5 to go of the season. Charles Leclerc, I believe, could theoretically... I know he can't quite become world champion just yet. That'll have to happen potentially next time out in Brazil. He's got, what, a 77-point buffer over Lewis Hamilton at the top of the table. Things are looking pretty good for Charles and Ferrari this weekend. And even Carlos Sainz there now just, well, Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso only 11 points behind the Brit. It looks like just Hamilton, the second half of this year, really has just fallen apart for him in terms of performance. We are currently in P9 overall in the standings, just 6 points back behind our teammate Sergio Perez there and 2 points clear of Oscar Piastri with just a handful of races to go. Of course, it's Sergio's home Grand Prix as well this weekend, so he'll be looking to try and get a big result. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 5k subs here on the channel. And yeah, let's head out then to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
This is a special place to go motor racing. We have the Fora Sol. The track is warming up nicely, and it is nearly time to set the grid for tomorrow's Grand Prix. What an atmosphere we have in Mexico City.
We're heading out then into qualifying, and it looks like once more it's going to be another weekend of trying to be the last car out on a run. Track conditions are steadily improving here, but I don't think we've ever seen a wet Mexican Grand Prix, at least since it returned to Formula 1 all the way back in 2015. However, it is meant to be sunny skies tomorrow afternoon as well, so obviously Perez, he'll be looking to try and get a strong qualifying effort done around this circuit. We know just how bad his reliability record is, though, here inside the F1 game, so hopefully this weekend can run a little bit more smoothly for him. We just want to try and get another good result down on the board. Obviously, we've had a pretty successful campaign so far this year as purple through that first sector. The track is definitely starting to dry. And of course, Max Verstappen, he absolutely loves this venue as well, as again, purple through sector 2. This is a track that we either do really well at or really struggle at. I remember on F123, we won this Grand Prix like 3 years in a row. Despite in every single one of them, we actually lacked pace throughout qualifying and free practice. Just kind of things fell our way. But at the final corner, we do a 1:23.1, and that's good enough to go straight to the top of the board. Well, we are going to try and make sure that we are the last car on a lap, but everybody has left it pretty late here as we head back out into the circuit. Rain is still falling, but I mean, look at that. Zhou Guanyu is up to P4, and currently 212 Motorsport, we've got a front row lockout. If things were to end like that, will that carry on? Or will we continue to see times improve? I think we're probably going to see times continue to improve right towards the end of the session there. Struggled to put the power down out of that final turn, so we're just going to try and use plenty of battery on the run down in towards turn 1. But yeah, this could certainly leave us with a very mixed up grid there. A little bit early on the brakes down into that first apex. Just wanted to make sure we met the car with the inside curb. You can instantly see quarter of a second up on the exit of those first couple of turns. Looks like Sergio Perez as well has got a little bit of breathing room in front of him. Yeah, times are really moving around all over the place. I've got no idea how much the AI are going to find. We've all kind of agreed that the intermediates is the way to go. As Hamilton now top of the board on a 22.0. Gasly doesn't go that far behind. So yeah, track is definitely still getting quicker and quicker. So we make our way through the S's. Russell now to the top of your timings, but we claimed our first ever pole position in this series just a couple of races ago back in Singapore. Are we about to try and get another one? As Verstappen, oh, Tsunoda goes up to P1. That's a brilliant lap time by him as Oscar Piastri will improve on that. Are we going to see any other big shocks, though, as we make our way through the final corner? Charles Leclerc now top of the board. Ayumu Iwasa is down in P20. And at the final corner, we go P9. We just did not have enough. Well, for Yuki Tsunoda in that V-carb to end up less than half a tenth off pole position is nothing short of astounding there. Alex Albon in the Williams ends up in P7. Perez disappointing for him all the way down in P13. The same can be said, yeah, for Lando Norris down in P20. Ayumu Iwasa down in P21. Obviously, World Championship leader, though, Charles Leclerc will start from pole position. Hamilton needs a big result today if he wants to try and keep himself in the fight.
Welcome to the most populous city in North America. The legendary Jim Clark won the first official F1 race here in 1963. It's Mexico City, and it's Grand Prix Sunday. With 2,285 metres above sea level, that is one of the key details of this circuit. It tests the driver's fitness and their engine's efficiency. The other one is the atmosphere. An incredible crowd, a raucous crowd, and there's 30,000 of them waiting for the drivers at the end of this 2.6-mile lap in the Foro Sol. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Tsunoda, Russell, Sainz, Verstappen, Albon, Hamilton, Mr. Monaco, Gasly, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Perez, Stroll, Teo Porcher, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Joe, Bottas, Norris, Iwasa, and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes, delighted to say that we're joined today by Anthony Davidson. I love this moment in the weekend. Put us in their shoes right now. What are they feeling on the grid?
You've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
Well, here we are then down on the grid. We line up P9 for what is actually one of the longest races of the season as well. Luckily, no sprint weekend this time out. We'll leave that to the US Grand Prix. But yeah, 36 laps ahead of us. It's going to be over 45 minutes of action-packed Grand Prix racing ahead of us today. We just want to try and score some decent points. I still want to beat Checo by the end of the season in our little inner team battle. But waiting then on the grid, 5 red lights here in Mexico City. And it's going to be lights out and away we go. The Hamilton with reactions like a cat would immediately move past Verstappen and Alex Albon in towards turn 1. Looks like Gasly and Hülkenberg want to try and follow him as well. There is the Dutchman not getting off to a particularly good getaway. Everybody trying to use their battery though. We have been swamped in towards turn 1. A little bit of contact there with Daniel Ricciardo, who tried to squeeze us out with 3 wide as we make our way through turn 2. And a little bit of contact there with Alex Albon as well means in all of that we've ended up losing just 1 spot. But Verstappen, he's lost 4 between the start of this Grand Prix and, well, turn 4, I guess. It's Ricciardo there again trying to go for it. V-carb this weekend. Is that Tsunoda moving to the lead of the Grand Prix? It is! Yuki Tsunoda for V-carb takes the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. That is absolutely incredible by the young Japanese driver as well. That is something you love to see inside this series, and slowly but surely, I mean, this season has been absolutely storybook, but we're just getting more and more twists and turns in terms of AI performance late on in the campaign there, as we're going to try and send one down the inside of Tsunoda's former teammate in Pierre Gasly. But through the final corner, I didn't think I'd be saying this today, Visa Cash Out Racing Bulls lead this race. Tsunoda, he wants a Red Bull drive. I mean, I know we've still got a long old way to go this afternoon, but imagine the scenes if Yuki Tsunoda was able to win this race there. The Honda Power Unit always seems to do well at high altitude, but I guess with Red Bull struggling this year, someone's got to try and fly that flag. It's Albon and Hülkenberg. Whoa, they really tripped each other over down at turn 1, and through we will go around the outside there. That was a bit audacious. It was completely not what I was intending to do, but they both broke a little bit earlier than I was originally expecting, and I think already Tsunoda getting swallowed up once again at the front. Leclerc's made it through. Oscar Piastri is going to get down the inside as well. So, almost admittedly, the dream seems to be slowly fading for poor Yuki. He's not going to give up, though, against Oscar Piastri. So they make their way into the S's. Now he does. Well, I'm really hoping for Perez's sake that he can try and get some points this weekend. He'd really deserve another points haul. So Hamilton just goes a little bit defensive from us into turn 1. This car does seem to be very quick down in a straight line this weekend. Very, very efficient at high altitude. Again, obviously, we've got the Honda power unit inside this series. Are we going to be able to have a look down the inside? Oh, big send there, but we don't go into the back of George Russell. And, well, the man that wants to try and win this world title finally get his 8th. I think this season it's not going to happen, but he loses another spot. As you can see, the gap Leclerc's got at the front. He is streaking away. New fast lap of the day as well, and I think we've got some very good race pace in this car. We've obviously fought for wins in the last couple of races. Hasn't quite worked out for us as this time round. Oh, again, we've just got so much confidence on the brakes inside this game. Up now into P5. Mercedes, they are not a front-running car anymore. They are kind of top of the midfield, I reckon, inside this series. But of course, yeah, with all those rule changes ready for next year, that could very quickly change. Well, that McLaren car is not particularly fast either. It's definitely quicker than the V-Carb, but Yuki just seems to be able to stay in the range, and obviously everybody with DRS, no one can really do a huge amount there, as we're going to try and close in on the Ferrari. Don't know how many moves we're going to make down in turn 1 today, but that's another one. Down the inside will go of Carlos Sainz, of course, the Spaniard, desperately trying to claw in those points to Lewis Hamilton as well. Try and get Ferrari 1-2 in the championship. But yeah, you can see Leclerc, I think he's trying to play the long game though. Obviously, he's got that little bit of a buffer. He's not trying to just waltz away from the rest of the order. You've got to look after your tyres around this circuit, and that is exactly what the Monegasque man is doing. Right, well, I think unless Yuki can make a move on Oscar Piastri now, we've got to try and go for it on the pair of them here. You can see Oscar a little further up the road, 220 miles an hour though. 227 miles an hour in towards that first corner as Oscar Piastri suddenly realises how much straight line speed we've got, but it is far too late for the Australian there. We hook it up, we get round the outside. That's our second double overtake of the day. It's not over though. As you can see, the McLaren man tries to get back alongside us into the next braking zone. Just got to try and cover him off there, which we will do. And Leclerc now suddenly is under pressure from a rival. I've got nothing to lose. Oh no, here comes Oscar again. So everybody, I mean the DRS of course is just super powerful around a venue like this. Is wheel to wheel through those first couple of corners. We're going to go again. Just run a little bit wide on the exit there. But yeah, Oscar Piastri, he's just seemingly not quite got enough. Again, he's under pressure from Tsunoda in towards that next corner. And again, all this is doing is allowing Leclerc, without really having to try, just to open up more of a buffer. I don't know whether we've just taken a bit too much out of this first set of tyres or what's going on. Oh, there we go. That's the problem. We've definitely taken too much out of these tyres. Rear temperatures through the roof, and I did not set the pressures high enough, it would appear, this weekend. Front left as well, just right on the limit. So, yeah, unless we get a safety car or something like that, I don't think we're going to have the pace to try and get to Leclerc here. That Ferrari is just too fast. So once again, it looks like our battle is going to be to try and get a podium. Well, the weird thing is as well, because most of the big traction zones around this circuit are just straight lines, we're actually not struggling too badly with that rear tyre temperature there, as we're going to fly past Oscar Piastri back down in towards turn 1. I think we've kind of realised that we're better off working together here towards the end of this stint and just then kind of defending from those cars behind. The gap to Leclerc, like I've said before, it doesn't seem to be going up anymore, but it just doesn't seem to be coming down. Well, team want us into the pit lane then at the end of this one, but I think we're just going to try and stay out a couple of laps longer here as Oscar Piastri once again will make the move down the inside. I guess what we'll do is whatever Oscar and Charles don't do. If they both pit, then we'll stay out. If only Charles pits, we'll stay out. If only Oscar pits, I guess we stay out. I don't really know. We're basically just going to get round to the end of the lap, see how the tyres feel, and make a decision from there. Right, are we going to see Charles then into the pit lane? Oscar Piastri opts to stay out. Charles Leclerc is in though, and so is Yuki Tsunoda behind us. So now, this lap, Oscar and I have got to try and push on and try to make sure we look after each other here. We're going to try and get the run back down in towards turn 1. 225 miles an hour again before we pull out of the slipstream and try and get that car slowed down, which we will. So for the first time today, we are into the lead, but we are definitely going to have to peel in at the end of this one. I think because of Yuki pitting as well then, Oscar Piastri and I just got a little bit more of a buffer over Carlos Sainz. Luckily, the joy of being a new team in Formula 1 is that our pit box is right down the far end of the lane, so we don't have to worry too much about other cars diving in. But into the pit lane we come then, fairly sensible on the way in there. George Russell is going to opt to stay out just one lap further as well. So, I mean, we went green through Sector 1, so that lap time, we did pretty well still, all things considered. And now onto the hards to the end of the day. That was a good stop. That was a good stop. Perez is going to dive in as well, as there goes Charles Leclerc.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
So I think we've taken a bit of time out then of the Ferrari. He's lost a good second or so over that lap, so I think he might have got held up in a little bit of traffic. But the undercut for Tsunoda has really worked. He's now back into net P3. There we go, George Russell then, the last car that needed to dive into the pit lane here, will finally come in as Leclerc does a 15.5. 2.4
seconds.
So we've got to try and see if we can beat that lap time this time round then, because fast lap bonus point could be quite useful come the end of the year. The gap to Leclerc now, yeah, about 2 seconds. We know we've got slightly fresher tyres right the way through to the end, but managing the temperature is going to be critical. Through the final corner then, come on, what is the time Leclerc is going to do? Are we going to beat it? 15.2.
Fastest lap of the race so far.
I think unless we get some DRS, I don't think we're going to beat that once more. The gap to Leclerc, 1.9 seconds. But now we've just got to start being a bit more gentle on this rubber once more, as there seems to be more battles going on behind. That will hopefully allow us to pull away. Come on, 15 laps to go. Another new fastest lap.
Fastest lap of the race.
I genuinely was not expecting that one there, but the gap to Leclerc, now just 1.5 seconds. We know if we get inside the range, then it'll be much, much easier to stick with him. Still yet to win a race this season. I would love to try and kind of maintain a streak as such of winning in every campaign so far in this My Team series. Admittedly, that would only be a streak of 2, but it is still a streak. Well, how many times have we seen it so far this season where this car, once you move over to the hard compound tyre, it absolutely comes alive. It just seems like it struggles a little bit with temperature on the softs or the mediums, and then you make the switch. The hard tyre a little bit more versatile, a little bit more flexible in kind of its temperature window, and it really, really does pay off for us, as I believe now then into the final third of this race. Mark there very, very clear that we need to try and make the move work on Charles Leclerc. I don't think I'm going to get close enough to him this time.
Back by about 0.3 a lap. Well done.
But Charles Leclerc, he has been all-conquering in the second half of this campaign. He has built up a huge championship lead over Lewis Hamilton. Whether he finished first or second here today, it looks like that gap is once again going to be increased. But are we just going to see Leclerc under pressure? What does he do? Do you play the points game? Oh, there's a little bit of wheel banging. No, I think Leclerc wants to try and fight this one out as we'll go down the inside through the next couple of corners. There, still wheel-to-wheel will go.
Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place.
Well, not only does it bring us up 1 spot, Mark, it brings us into the number 1 spot. P1 with just over 10 laps remaining. But at least now we know we can take the lead of this Grand Prix, but I don't think there's going to be any point fighting Charles over it too much. Goodbye, Ferrari, once again. It's like our F1 2000 career mode, watching Ferraris fly past me down the streets. But yeah, Leclerc back through. I'm happy just to sit here for a few laps, save up some battery. Oh, we got yellows out. Pierre Gasly. Disappointment for him. He was battling up in the points early on. He is our first retirement of the afternoon. I mean, we are practically pushing Leclerc along at the moment. We seem to just have a little bit more grip, a little bit more confidence. He has just snookered away my fastest lap though, so I want to try and go for that again before it's too late in this race. Down the outside, sorry, in turn 1. And I think a bit like Oscar Piastri earlier on, Leclerc realises it's not really a fight worth having at this point. And once again then, late on in the day, here comes Charles Leclerc. This time around he's going to try the outside line in towards that first corner, but I think both of us now know this is all gearing up to a late race scrap for the win, just like we saw in the driver career mode a couple of weeks ago here in Mexico as well. That the huge DRS zones do kind of mean that if you're in P2 starting the last lap, you've normally got a pretty good shot. Well, we've got more yellows as we start lap 31. Still every chance of a late race safety car in this GP. I believe that might be... Oh, that's a Williams. I think that's Sargent falling to the wayside then. So Logan Sargent, he doesn't even get to race in Mexico. And there is a safety car. The tyre wear hasn't been bad this afternoon, but I can't help but feel maybe a new set of soft compound tyres for the final few laps is going to be worthwhile. I mean, we haven't got to worry about anything in the bigger picture of the championship. And I'm just trying to do the maths. I think there would only be 2 laps of DRS otherwise. I think we're going to take the gamble. We're going to re-emerge probably down a little bit down the order, but I think it's worth it. Or perhaps if I was in the World Championship fight, I'd view this a little bit differently. But anyway, making our way into the pit lane then at the end of, well, lap 31. We are going to dive in over onto a set of softs. I think we'll either be out either just ahead or just behind Max Verstappen in this race. We're going to have a little bit of work to do towards the end, but what's life without a little bit of risk in Formula 1? Yep, so we will re-emerge then in P8, but this is going to be a very, very short-lived safety car, and then we're just going to have to go all out. Well, we have just 3 laps left here in Mexico. Charles Leclerc is going to control the pace as we make our way through the Forest Sol. And you can still see Yuki Tsunoda running up in P3. Is he going to be able to get a fairy tale ending to this afternoon? The first car we've got to try and jump is going to have to be Max Verstappen as we wait for the green flags to fly once again at that final corner. You can see Verstappen trying to use some of his battery as well to defend himself, but we're on, what, 2-3 lap old set of softs that haven't really done a proper lap as such against AI that are all on worn hard tyres there. As Oscar Piastri trying to make a move on Charles Leclerc down towards turn 1. We will go clean around the outside of Verstappen there through that first corner. So the Dutchman, I think he accepted almost immediately it wasn't really going to be worth a fight. So we've got yellows out for someone a little bit further back. But I mean, look at the grip around the outside of George Russell. I bet he didn't even know I was there. But we just have so much more confidence at the moment, as you would expect us to have. Oh, Hamilton gets a little bit tripped over himself there. We will go around the outside, and immediately 3 places gained in just a single lap. You can see Tsunoda, he's done a sterling effort all afternoon, but he just does not quite have the pace in that car to match the likes of Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc.
DRS is now online.
We're going to try and give him a little bit of breathing room, though, from the Ferrari behind, as both myself and Carlos Sainz trying to close in back down in towards turn 1 there. Tsunoda, oh, he's going to try and cover us off. Sainz goes to the outside through turn 1, and that kind of eliminated any shot I had. Wheel to wheel they'll go, but through we will go, and up then into P3 of the race there. Yuki Tsunoda, it's all just starting to fall apart for him so late on in the day. I'm hoping we still see him get a decent result. But now there are just 2 cars between us and the race lead. Less than 2 laps to go of this Grand Prix, which surely are going to be in the DRS of Oscar Piastri, though, by the time we get out to turn 1. Surely as well, we are about to lock down fastest lap of this race. We haven't got as much battery as I would like to out of the final corner, but as we start the last lap then of the Mexican Grand Prix, we've got a 3-way fight for the race lead here. Here goes Oscar Piastri, though, trying to have a look to the outside of Charles Leclerc, and I don't think Leclerc's got the battery. Oscar Piastri, for the first time today, is going to take the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix there. Charles Leclerc, though, really just struggling in behind him there. You can see Leclerc's used too much battery. Charles Leclerc, he's got nothing off of turn 1. And our World Championship leader, it looks like he's still going to extend that margin at the top of the table this weekend, but not as much as he would have wanted to over Lewis Hamilton. Oscar Piastri, he won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix back in round 2 of the season. I don't believe he's won another race since then. He's one of my big title rivals, though, at the moment. Him, myself, and Sergio Perez. So a win here would be super useful for any of us late on in the campaign. And you can just see he's really, really struggling. He'll go defensive in towards the Forest for the final time. Can we find anywhere to try and make a move? We're going to attack the curbs through this final few corners. Are we going to be able to do anything, though? I think Oscar Piastri, he's going to have enough there as we'll try and put the power down out of the final quarter. It's going to be so close.
Yes!
We've done it.
Guys, yes! Come on, boys!
It's a performance to be proud of from our Mexico City Grand Prix winners today.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I'd just made that mistake there or looked up here, there would have been contact. And every one of those overtakes is a moment where you have to absolutely nail it, perfect it, and that's exactly what they're able to do today. Great stuff indeed.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
Half a tenth of a second by the time we got to the line there. That has got to be one of the most insane ends to an F1 race I've ever had inside F1 24. Oscar Piastri, he was never in the fight for the win until right at the very end, but he came alive. He almost got the job done, and I genuinely thought coming out of that final corner we were going to finish another agonising P2. Charles Leclerc, he dominated most of that, but he'll only walk away with a third place trophy ahead of his teammate Carlos Sainz, and Tsunoda, easily my driver of the weekend in P5, beats out Verstappen, Russell, Stroll, Albon, and even Sergio Perez in the end as Hamilton. No idea what happened to him late on, but he won't even score a single point from this race. Lando Norris, he just lacked pace all afternoon down in P15 there. Ayumu Iwasa as well. We saw nothing of him in that second Red Bull, only able to beat out Zhou Guanyu come the checkered flag. But what does that do to our championship? Well, it means Sainz now 1 point clear of Lewis Hamilton. Still Alonso waiting in the wings there ahead of Russell and Lando Norris. I mean, even Max Verstappen, you can make the argument that there is a 6-way scrap for P2 behind Carlos Sainz in the championship. We now have a 10-point buffer over Oscar Piastri as both myself and the Australian jump our teammate Sergio Perez late on in the game as well there. And yes, Tsunoda, some big points for him and VCarb. Will give them a little bit of safety. Still just both Saubers, Sargent and Pourchaire, yet to score a point this year as well. Constructors-wise, we're pretty lonely still in P6. It's looking pretty safe between everybody, with the exception, I believe, of McLaren and Red Bull there, and maybe Alpine and Williams as well further down the order. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready in Brazil.